All right. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming to this mini mat class. Mainly, what I want to do is introduce you to me and my work. Many of you know it. Some of you are new and I don't know you. But years ago when I couldn't ride a horse, I was super fit. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was ignorant. I thought, what's wrong with me? Something's wrong. I'm a professional dancer. I can't ride a horse. And then everybody could ride my horse and my horse looks fantastic. And I get on and the horse's head would be up and her back would be hollow. And I didn't know what to do. So all of that led me to investigating what it takes to ride a horse. And I investigated that every single day when I go out and ride my horse. Because it's, as they say, dressage takes 2 lifetimes. I'm going to probably pause at 3. And I have a feeling this is my first lifetime in dressage. So I was, as I said, I was a professional dancer, so I really knew my body. I can do anything with my body. I mean, that's how I was trained, and I couldn't ride a horse. So all this that I developed, Pilates for Dressage, my Ridermanship course, which is a lot what this is about. You learned in Ridermanship. Some of you have already taken Ridermanship several times. And then I do a podcast. If you haven't checked out my podcast, they're free podcasts. And you put me in your ear and you ride with me on your horse, you warm up. And I talk about different body parts on the podcast. I have books, I have DVDs. I have a live mat class coming up. All of this, we'll get an email with all of this stuff. I have a Ridermanship rookie course, which is 3 audio lessons they're like my podcast, only full lessons on your horse. But I have all this because I really feel sorry for my horse, my first horse. It was like, oh my gosh, I feel sorry for my horse, because if I'm ignorant of what I'm doing, then I'm really hindering my horse. I'm really hindering my horse's ability to carry me. And so I'm just so passionate about teaching people. Movement is my life. From professional dancer to master Pilates. I've been doing Pilates for 30 years to trying to ride dressage. So movement is my life, and I love training bodies because the difference it makes in your horses when you understand your body. I mean, it's easy to think, oh, I just use my core, or oh, I just use my seat. But it's like, if you don't even know what those are and you don't even know how to get them, it really gets convoluted. And we try, but oftentimes no matter how much our heart is into trying, we don't have the education of the body that we really need, unless you're one of those like people that are just because you're extremely talented. It's like singers. You have singers that are just naturally talented, and then other ones have to learn how to sing, and they do really well. So I'm trying to teach people how to learn how to be a Charlotte Dujardin. That's my goal, is to get people to understand how you can ride so much better. So that's what this is all about. And you have to understand, where I'm coming from, which is from the movement into riding and into giving you a language that you can, the dressage teacher says, use your leg. And to a dancer, that doesn't mean anything, because I can move my leg any way you want to use it. So I'm trying to give vocabulary to how to use your body on the horse. And then I'm trying to train your body. Train your body to understand how to use it on a horse. We don't talk enough about seat and posture and alignment. And basically that's in Ridermanship, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to give you what a real seat is and how to get it, and how to get a skeletal alignment that will create the dressage seat that you're looking for. And it doesn't sound very exciting, the posture. It's like, oh yeah, put a book on your head and walk. But honestly, posture and skeletal alignment are super, super important. And I'm going to have Jessa be a horse for me, because we are all about the top line of a horse and how to get a horse's posture to change and become more biomechanically correct. So a regular horse out in the field, right, are kind of like this. Let's say she's a nice warm blood, but nobody's worked with her for, I think she's worked over it. But anyways, but nobody's done anything with this posture, this horse. So what is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to stretch her back. So we're going to bring her into the arena. We're going to try to get the head down first and try to start lifting a little bit that spine up, right? So we're trying to change her posture. We do that from the spine, okay? So now she's kind of like an intro level horse here. And then as we move up to training level, she's going to have to learn to lift her abdominals even more, to lift her back up. So over the years, we're changing this posture, right? Months, years sometimes. Well, this whole thing we're going through will take about 10 years. And then from there, we want to maybe move up to first level. So she's going to have a little more engagement of her spine. And we have a little bit better now. We get to second level, we're going to start to engage the haunches, which starts to also lift the back. And then the more we go, we're going to lift that back until she's Grand Prix, meaning she's lowering her haunches, lifting her withers. And now we want her to do a canter pirouette. So she's going to use her haunches and lift up, and lift up, and lift up, and then come down into that beautiful posture of a nice Grand Prix horse. So I'm going to let somebody in. Thank you. So we talked about, horse's posture, and we want to help them. And we don't think about what we're doing to help them, and what we're doing that probably is hindering them. And we're doing kind of the same thing. Go back to that. We're doing kind of the same thing as we're kind of here. A lot of people, when they ride, they have hollow backs. I don't know if you've been told that. But the spine and the skeletal alignment is not really great because we don't work on that. And we might go to the gym and we might pump weights and get fit, but we're really not changing our posture. So little by little in Pilates, we start to change the posture just like a horse, and you can sit. So if you don't change your skeletal alignment, you can't change. Maybe you should take that bone away. Sorry. If you can't change your posture, you'll have a harder time changing your horse's posture, because the horses tend to mirror what we do. For example, I've been to shows and I see people with this hollow back, and they're like hitting on their horse because the horse's back is hollow. So we have to learn that maybe we need to do something. So one of the first things that I start with in ridermanship is to learn about skeletal alignment and learn about your core muscles, how to create that. So one of the things that I just sit here for a second, and I think if somebody's there, they need to mute themselves. I'll check here. Mute yourself. There's some noise there. Thank you. So the first thing we start talking about is that transverse abdominis, your core abdominal muscle, and it really wraps around you like this. And the horse has one too. And the more we tighten that together, the more you get length in your spine, and the more you get a better skeletal alignment. So that's one of the first things that we need to do to understand the transverse abdominis. So just sit in a comfortable place.
No, what? Okay.
Is somebody?
No, I'm good. Swing that handle around if you wouldn't mind.
Please mute yourself.
You can use this on both things.
Can everybody double check that you're muted? Thank you. So the transverse, so sit in a comfortable place. This is your first exercise of the night. I want you to put your hands on your lower back. Put your hands on your lower back. And I want you to pull your belly button don't my arm, just pull it in tighter, pull it in more, and more,
Oh,
and then
man, your brother's like into the hot sauces, huh?
what was that?
That one looks scary.
What was that?
Maybe I'll kick my taste in.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we have to find Hugh is not muted.
Actually, how long them, I
already did.
Let me
I
see.
put them in like in the order to use them. They're all good until February.
Are they?
Someone Carlson, Don Carlson, maybe?
Yeah.
Don Carlson, you need to, please.
There we go, muted now.
Okay. I think that's them, I still hear it. So we're gonna do that again. What I want you to do is put your hands on your lower back. Pull yourself in, pull your belly button to the backbone.
Man, good. A ton of coleslaw, huh?
You're going to close your ribs.
Spicy? Well, the rice is probably spicy.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's a jambalaya thing. So that's probably
I think
where
this is
you're.
supposed to be sausage, ain't it?
Okay.
I think so. It's a very fatty meat.
Sorry, what?
Fatty.
Okay.
It's someone called Tammy.
Who?
It's
Tammy?
someone called Tammy.
Tammy? How do I mute them?
You put it back, you put it on the table, on the pad.
Janice, if you go into your participants
Yes.
and then just mute all, you can mute them all from there.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Cool.
Whew. Somebody's having dinner while we're trying to work out. All right. So do you feel that work? What I want you to feel is pulling that belly button to the back. This is so important because we're going to do this in all of our exercise. You pull it in and feel as if you ate a little bit too much over the holidays. You put your jeans in the dryer and now you're trying to zip up those jeans. That's the feeling you want. I know you've all been there, but I know I have. And so that's the feeling that you really pull that in. And why your hands are on your back is so that you can feel how the back widens. Can you feel that stretch in your back? That's what we took that sway back nag horse and we started having them lift their stomach and their back starts to widen and get broad. And that's where we're going to start to change how our skeletal alignment is. So if you can sit sideways, just cross your legs and then arch your back a little bit. So mostly it's arch your, oh, she can't arch her back. There, like, anyways. So if you don't have that, you're not even arching your back. So like that? Yeah, that's all right. That's good. She's done too much pulling. But that arching of the back here is just like that sway back neck there. So that she still can't do it wrong. She can't do it wrong anymore. Anyway, sorry. But that idea that transverse abdominis, that abdominal muscle, really holds and lengthens the spine. And there's science to that. And if you read Dr. Hillary Clayton's book, Engage Your Horse, of course, she got the idea from me when I asked her about, does a horse have a transversus and does it spread the multifidi? And she researched it and she came up with that book. So again, what we're doing in our body is going to reflect in the horse. So I hope you all felt the transversus, and then you're going to say, okay, that's hard to breathe. So most importantly, what we want to do when we exercise is not hold the breath and make sure we exhale. So this is the first and foremost muscle piece that we need to talk about tonight. So as we go into the exercises, I just want to say that make sure that nothing hurts when you do. Okay, if your stomach burns, I really don't care. And if your rear end burns, I really don't care. But you don't want any sharp pains anyway. If something doesn't feel exactly right, make sure you don't do the exercise. Just stop and wait for an exercise that feels better to you. So we're going to start by testing this transverse abdominis by lying down. So everybody lie down, bend your knees, and put your feet on the ground. Okay. And in this position, we're going to have you again pull the abdominals into, so you're going to try to push your spine into the ground and holding that transversus in. And you almost want to feel as if you're, one person says, oh, it's like hair clipping the front of my body, that you bring the front of the body together this way and then release that. Try not to use your glutes so much. So you're going to do that again. Engage your abdominals. And I like to maybe think of a corset that I'm going to tie the corset in front here. Bring the sides of your body around your dinner maybe and hold it together and pull that stomach in more. And then we're going to release that. Okay. So that's the first thing we're going to do is work on that. So we're going to do a breathing exercise that's going to challenge that. So relax for a second, take a deep breath in, and you're going to feel your belly go out. And then as you exhale, you'll feel the abdominal wall fall in. And inhale and expand the belly. And then exhale and feel the belly button fall to the backbone. This time, hold it to the backbone. Take a deep inhale, but don't let the belly go out. And as you exhale, pull the belly tighter and tighter, like you're tying a corset in the front. And keep it there as you inhale. So you're going to inhale more up into your chest, more up and down breathing, and exhale. And there's a reason for that. This is our core abdominal muscle. One more time. Inhale, don't let the belly go up. And as you exhale, get the stomach deeper down into the spine. And then relax. Okay? So we're going to add a little challenge to that. So the idea though, when your transverse, your core abdominal muscle is holding your spine is protected. Okay. So if I let go of that transverse to breathe, my spine is no longer protected. And I was a professional dancer. Two things. If I let my stomach go out, I would never get a job because it didn't look very good. But secondly, I had to run and jump all over the stage and I had to find balances. And you have to use your core muscle. So you learn to breathe. This is one thing a lot of people have trouble with. You think, I can't breathe. It's like, yes, you can. You learn to breathe in a different way. The letting the belly out, breathing is for nice relaxation. But in athletic breathing, you have to be able to hold your transversus in and breathe a little bit more up and down in your lungs. And you can expand your lungs to the side. But the abdominal wall must stay in during all the exercises. When you're lying on the ground, make sure your lower back stays on the ground. So, but keep your knees bent. Okay. So those are a couple caveats. So right here, I'm going to have you pull your stomach in, press your heels into the ground a little bit, just a little bit, so you engage the back of your hips. This is the second piece of muscle, that we use, which is the back of your hips. It's not a huge, leave your tailbone on the ground. So tuck under again, Jess, and lift your tailbone up. Don't do that. That's too much. But just keep your stomach in, press your heels into the ground, and find a slight little squeeze back here. Okay? We're going to pump these arms up and down like this from your triceps. And we're going to breathe in for 5 counts. And we're going to exhale for 5 counts. And relax. So that's the 100 exercise called the hundreds. We're going to keep, there's a lot of variations on the 100. You're just going to keep your head down, keep your knees bent, and really focus on keeping the abdominal wall in as you breathe in and out, and pump those arms and get the blood flowing. Here we go. And we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale. 5 and exhale, pull the stomach down further. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5 and exhale, 2, 4, 5 and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5 and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5, X, 2, 3, and rest. Okay, you should feel some blood pumping, some going through your body, a little more circulation. And I don't know if you're watching this, but I put a little, let your head go down. So when Jessamine was here, her chin was up a little bit like that. And so I put a little pillow. If you need a little pillow under your head, please do so. If you feel that chin coming up, we don't want that, okay? All right, we're gonna sit up, and the next thing we're gonna do, so just like with a horse, sorry, somebody else is coming in. Just like with a horse, we're gonna try to get them to learn to engage that. We have that sway back horse, and then we try to engage that core abdominal muscle, okay? And then we're gonna also wanna use that to stretch the back. So what I want you to do, stand up for a second. This is a nice way to feel this. Everybody stand up. And then I want you to just round over a little bit. So just round over and just stay there for a second. Don't go very far. And then while you're there, pull the stomach in more. Stay rounded and pull that stomach in. And now drop that stomach. Don't use it anymore. Drop it. And then again, pull it in. And then drop it. Can you feel the difference? How awful it feels when you're rounding over and you don't have any support? So pull it in, and that's a supported back. And that's what a horse has to do when they ride, plus you're on top of them, bouncing them around. Can you feel the difference when you have an engaged spine, an engaged core, or you release? And you can feel when you release, it actually doesn't feel very good anymore, okay? So go ahead and have a seat and face this way. So we're going to use that core to stretch the back, right? We can just have the horse's head down, and the rear end is out that way, and nothing's really happening. Or we can actually teach them to stretch their back by using their core abdominal muscles. She's going to bend her knees, come forward, and hold underneath the thighs. Bring your knees in just a little bit. Elbows are going to be out to the side, and you're going to pull the stomach in around your spine. So lift those elbows up as you round your back. And when you lift those elbows up, your shoulders stay down, okay? So we're already beginning to use the transverse abdominis, I just like to say stomach, to stretch your spine. When we stretch the spine, we start to get a better skeletal alignment. So right now, we're going to start to use, and remember I talked to you about these muscles back here, those little, sometimes I call it a buttock muscle, the top of the thigh and the bottom of the buttock. Right there, those muscles right there, we're going to use them a little bit. Your haunches, if you will. So everybody's knees bent, stomach in, your spine is round, your elbows are up. You're going to hold on with those arms and curl the tail under, and we're going to go back until your lower back or your waistline is on the ground. And we're going to use the haunches to carry yourself down. So you're holding your arms like reins, and you're going to put that low back on the ground with the engagement of the haunches. We're going to stay right there, big exhale, and now really round up tight into a ball by pulling yourself up with your arms. Well done there, Justin. Did y'all feel that? It should feel kind of miserable and good at the same time. The misery is in the work, but the good is in the stretch in the back. So now you understand why horses have to lower their haunches, because then they can stretch their back and use their stomach to come through that spine. We're gonna do that again, feet flat on the floor and abdominals in, elbows up to the side. And she's gonna slowly come back using the haunches. And when you get down to where your waistline's on the ground, we're gonna hold those hands, lift this up and pull the stomach down further, and then come on up and pull yourself up. And relax for a second. It should be a giant stretch in your back, and it should be a lot of work in your abdominals and in your glutes. We're gonna do that again. And curl that tail under. Stay thinking a horse always stays forward. You were fine. You were exactly fine. Use the haunches to come down. Try to get the waistline on the ground. Now, some of you might be so tight, your feet might be flying up here, and curl and come on up. If your feet are flying up here, you might want to try this by putting your feet under a sturdy piece of furniture like a couch or something sturdy that will help you. But if you do have your feet flying up or you can't get back up, it just kind of shows you where you are. Your spine may be a little tight. And if you, Joseph Pilates says you're only as old as your spine is flexible. So I really truly believe that. And that's a horse. The horse has to have a supple spine. We need a supple spine. So if you're having trouble going up and down, go a little bit, maybe smaller. So just go a little bit. So you use the same thing. You go back, maybe about 2 inches, and you stop, and then you hold your stomach in and you pull yourself back up. That's another way you can do it, just a smaller range of motion. If you can, we're going to go down again, pulling the stomach in, using your seat, and press the stomach down and hold right there, and then curl and come on up and straighten your legs now and reach over and relax. So that's called the rolling back, and it's a lovely exercise to help your spine if it's tight. And I kind of never met a supple spine. In 30 years of teaching Pilates, most everyone has tightness in their back somewhere. It could be upper back. I know Jessamine has a lot because she's a dermatologist and she's over people all day long. So she's tight in her upper back. A lot of people mid back and a whole lot of people in that lower back. Okay. So that's an exercise that you can do every day. And if you maybe make it small so that you can come back up, because I would say if you go down, you have to come back up, right? So only go as far down as you can come back up, and you do that a little at a time. Then you will be able to go further down. You'll get more flexible, stronger to be able to do that exercise. So we've learned about the transverse abdominis, and now you've learned about how the transverse abdominis helps you to stretch your spine. So we're going to go ahead and lie down. Bend your knees when you lie down. And we're going to work on now the hip joint. That's another joint. And I spend a lot of time in ridermanship educating people's hips because most people's hips are not educated. Think about it. All we do is, as normal, dancers aren't normal, but so normal people, all we usually do is walk forward, we sit up, we sit down, we stand up. And that's basically all we do in our life. This hip joint is just like your shoulder. It's a it's all in. Hello? Joint. Can you go tell them I don't know who that is?
It's Baron.
Baron, tomorrow night.
Tuesday.
I'm in the middle of a webinar.
I'm sorry.
Or you can sit for appointments.
No, that's fine. And then I'm go home.
Okay.
But I had it written down.
Sorry. My trainer's here for his for his Pilates lesson, but it's tomorrow night. Do you want to say hi to all my people on the webinar
That's it. Hello, everybody.
tomorrow night?
I cannot do tomorrow.
Oh,
We'll figure something out.
all right,
No
sorry.
problem. I'm doing a lot better.
Okay, good.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry about that. Yes, my trainer, his back's gone out, so he's been seeing me to help him ride his horse without pain. Okay, so I went back to I'm like, who is that in the middle of the night? Back to the hip joint. The hip joint is a ball and socket joint that should move like this. It can go, just like your shoulder, it's a ball and socket. And we don't really have that range of motion with the hips. Again, we only have this forward and back, and hips are tight. And then they say open your hip, and people don't even know what that means. So one of the things that I want to just start to talk about is this concept of hip flexion. Okay, the hip is in flexion here, and this muscle is holding it there. And then we have hip extension, which is a long leg. And hip extension is the back of the hips. You started to feel that in that last exercise. So we have hip flexion and we have hip extension. And then we have also this leg can do what's called circumduction. It can go in circles. And there's other things this hip can do. Bend your knee. So we don't have, as normal people, very educated hips. We're usually stuck in hip flexion. This muscle is tighter than these muscles back here. And so one of the main things that I work on in Ridermanship and Pilates for Dressage is the idea that I can hold my spine stable and I can mobilize my hip without disturbing my seat. Your seat is your spine, okay? So all the exercises that we do are to help you stabilize your spine and mobilize your hip eventually. So that's the progress I work on in ridermanship, stabilizing the spine and mobilizing the hip. Because when I sit on a horse, I have to have my spine stable and my hips mobile. The hips are what should absorb the horse's movement. And mostly what happens, I see, the hips are stuck and it's the lower back that takes the movement. If you have back pain when you ride, I will posit that that's what you're doing. Your hips are not moving and your back is moving. Back cannot move. It has to be held stable, not tight, stable. And then the hip has to be educated to move and have the freedom. You know, they call about drape your legs around your horse. Have that freedom in your hips to drape those legs. If they're stuck here, which they usually are, then we can't drape the leg down. So this exercise that we're going to do, I'm going to have you lift your right leg up and grab a hold of it and just stretch it there. And probably you'll notice your chin went up when you did that. And that's because your back is still tight. So when we get to the left leg, we're going to notice that. Okay. So from here, you're going to put your arms down on the ground. And the first thing you're going to do is to engage your core, engage your corset here. And we're going to bring this leg so your knee is right at your other knee. Okay. So right now, this is going to stay calm. And then we're going to lower this leg. So her legs are touching to about mid-calf. When you get here, keep your lower back down. Hold the stomach in and make sure that lower back stays on the ground. And right here, you can start engaging the back of the hip. And you keep your abdominals in, stay there. Sorry, somebody else is coming in. And now we're going to lower the leg a little lower. When you do that, engage your core more. You're going to feel how this wants to pop up. And it's not allowed. That lower back must be on the ground. You're going to soften your knee there. And then you're gonna lower the leg to the ground, and you may feel a stretch across the front of your hip. And bring that leg up again. Gonna do that again. So you gauge your transversus, bring your knee to your other knee. So your right knee is touching your left knee. We're on the wrong side, but I think that's okay. Right here, you're probably in hip flexion. As you pull your stomach in, you lower your leg down to mid-calf. Right here is about when you can start to feel hip extension, the back of the hip. Keeping this in, we're going to lower down to your ankle. And right here, be sure that lower back is on the ground. Be sure your stomach isn't poking out. Remember, we spent all that time inhaling and exhaling and pulling the stomach down. That's what I want you to do. And from here, take the leg straight to the ground. And if you can get a stretch across the front of the hip, that's what this exercise and bend your knee is made for. Okay, now when you take your left leg up, check your chin. Did it go up? Grab your leg, and we're going to stretch it. Don't let the chin go up. See, that's a short back. You wonder why your horse lifts his head, right? Because he can't. His back isn't supple enough. So our backs are not supple enough usually. Okay. And then from here, your arms are going to be down by your side. Your stomach is in. We're going to bring your left leg, and we're going to touch the inside of the left knee to the right knee. And you're going to organize. This is your seat. Your seat is your spine and your rib cage and pelvis held together. We're going to lower that leg about mid-calf. And right again at mid-calf, you're going to feel the back of the hip, that buttock muscle, the bottom of the buttock, the top of the thigh. Make sure your knee is soft. Yeah, we don't ride with locked knees. Lower the leg down a little bit lower to your ankle, and you might feel a stretch. Do you feel a stretch here? Yeah. This is such an important stretch. And then lower the leg to the ground. That's it. Did you? I don't know if you saw, her leg just went out about 2 inches. This is how, when you step down in a stirrup, or how long your legs is and how long your stirrup is, has nothing to do to me with an ankle. It has everything to do with how loose your hips are and how long this hip muscle is. Bring the leg up again. Keep your stomach in. Make sure your shoulders are easy. Make sure your lower back remains on the ground. And then bring your inner thigh to your inner thigh. Bring your leg a little bit lower. Find that buttock muscle. Keep the stomach in, lower back on the ground. Bring the thigh down to ankle height. Reach the leg out if you can. Really reach it out from your hip muscle. And then lower it all the way to the ground. Good. All right. So that's the second part of ridermanship, second part of what we're working on. We're working on rounding the spine and stretching it, and also educating these hip muscles. Let's sit up. Everybody go ahead and sit up. I hope you're feeling that nice stretch in your body. Maybe you felt a little openness in your hips. We're going to go into a little balance here. So we're going to round your spine, bend your knees, and you hold underneath your thighs here. And we're going to round. If you could hold on to the front of your ankles. If you have knee problems, hold underneath your thigh. Okay? So if you can, you hold on your shin, and if you can't, you hold underneath your thigh. And your feet are going to be either on the ground here, and you're going to pull your stomach in. Remember, like we did that second exercise, the rolling back. So we're going to use that now. And we're going to slowly lift our toes off the ground, and we're going to find this balance. Lift your elbows out to the side, pull your lower abs in, and stay right there. We call this a roll like a ball balance. Eventually we will roll. But right now, just that, find that balance. And you may feel, and then come on down and rest. If you go up there and you feel your back going forward and back and forward and back and forward and back, it shows you nobody knows who's in control of the spine. Is it the back muscles or the stomach? Back stomach, back stomach, back stomach, right? So if you feel that fight in your spine, you used to do that. It's perfect. She used to do that. Her stomach would go out and in and out, in and out and in. And that shows that we don't know who's in control. We want the abdominals to be in control of the spine. So come on up and find that balance again. And really feel that you can pull I almost feel sometimes like I have a bowling ball on my stomach. You really hold it in there, and you should feel one of two things, both if possible. The first thing you would feel ideal is your stomach in. You may not feel that. That's the work. You may feel the stretch right back here in your lower back, or you may feel both. How's that feeling? Yeah, that's good. And then come back down. And again, hold that stomach in and find that balance. Perfect Pilates model here tonight. So, yeah, how's that feel? You feel that your stomach pulls in, it stretches your spine, and you really get deeper and deeper. Remember when we inhaled and we exhaled and pulled the stomach in deeper and deeper, and then come down. It's just like your horse. It's like you could never get your horse through enough, right? It always has to be more and more and through and stretching through their spine. That's what we're doing here. There's no end to how deep the abdominal can work. One more time, and pull that stomach in, and you feel that head going forward. Feel your arms going forward, your tailbone going forward, and your spine going backwards, and you're creating this lovely stretch in your spine. Good. And then relax. All right, lie down again. All right, now we're going to put some of these together. All right. And in this next exercise, we call it the single leg stretch. And we want to, we're going to stretch our spine. It's going to be a little more difficult. And we're going to try to find this buttock muscle again. So you're going to bring your knees to your chest and take both hands under your right thigh. You can go under your left thigh there. So both hands, okay? Now, if you can, you're going to lift your head up. If your neck starts hurting, you put it down right away, okay? So I want the stomach in, and I want you to stay here. So now we're collecting a little bit. And I'm going to have you extend this leg to where you can feel the buttock muscle here. And lift your elbows up and pull the stomach in more. And reach this leg out. And then we're going to change the leg. Keep your stomach in. And you're going to stay this buttock muscle has to work harder. This leg's a little heavy. Squeeze it harder. And then change. The stomach stays in the whole time. Pull it in more. And then change. And so now we're challenging little asymmetry. Now you have to have your stomach in, you have to have your spine round, and you have to use your buttock. And change. And keep the stomach in, elbows up higher. Find that buttock muscle. Make sure your lower back stays on the ground. And change. And there. And both knees in. And relax, put your head down. How did that feel? That was kind of a challenge, right? So to keep all those parts organized, I remember a friend of mine, when I was starting to put Pilates For Dressage together, she was a rider, better rider than I, and I said, Barb, would you come and help me? You know, we need to learn this and see what you feel and give me a testimonial. And so after about 6 months, she brought me a testimonial, and she says, Pilates helps me control my moving. And I was like, oh my God, that's not exactly. I like that. Pilates makes me feel great. Pilates makes me ride better. Now it helps me control my moving parts. Well, I finally understand that. There's a lot of moving parts in our body. And when you don't control them the way you want to, as a rider, you control them by, sheer, oh my gosh, and things grab and get tight, right? So like if a horse scoots, we all just tighten up. And Pilates helps us understand how to use these moving parts. Okay, we're going to do one more exercise here. And you're going to bring your knees to your chest. I call this the pee-off exercise. So you can hold underneath your thighs or on top of your knees. And you're going to curl your head up. It's really important that you keep your stomach in. You're going to take your arms and legs straight to the ceiling, up. And you're going to squeeze your bottom and pull that stomach in. And then come in and relax your head down, because that's hard. And curl that head up and stretch your arms and legs. So you're tightening your bottom, you're pulling the stomach in. You can see a horse having to lift his back, lift up his withers, and bend your knees and come in. Let's see, how many PS do you have to do? 15 steps? Here we go. And up, we're not doing 15. Good. And come in. And one more up, pull the stomach in. Reach those legs up as you can. If you can't get in, just bend your knees a little bit. Pretend you're stiffer. Bend your knees. It's okay. Right like that. You can bend them there. And then come on down and relax. How'd that feel? Good. Nice work there. All right. One more. Sit up. Bring your legs apart and sit up nice and tall with your arms up. Out, I should say out. Okay, pulling your stomach in and stay up tall first here, all the way up. You're going to take a deep inhale, and she's going to exhale and round down and stretch that spine. Keep the stomach in. Remember when we stood up and hung over and we didn't have our stomach in, our back wasn't protected and it didn't feel so good. Now you're going to use your stomach to stack your spine one vertebra at a time. All the way up. That's control over that seat. And this is a beautiful riding seat that she has. Inhale up and big exhale down and stretch. So this isn't about leaning forward and reaching for your toes. This is about pressing your spine back like a good horse, a good dressage horse. And then, so this is collection. And as you come up with the stomach engaged, that's a lengthening of your spine. And we inhale again, and we exhale, and we collect. We pull the stomach in, lower our haunches under a little bit. And that's collection. And now you come up with your stomach in, and this is a lengthening across the diagonal. If she were to drop her back right now, I'd hit her in the high knee with my whip. And one more time, inhale and exhale. That's what we do to horses. Use that thing back there, okay? So she is going to still use her seat here as she rolls up through her spine and stacks her vertebra up. And that is a beautiful lengthening. And that's where we'll end our session tonight. Need a carrot. She needs a carrot. I didn't bring a carrot for her. I'm terrible. You can all, maybe I can unmute all. And I wanted to, so you can unmute yourselves. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, well, I want to see how you're feeling. Does anybody want to tell me how you feel?
I loved them, Janice. I always love your exercises. That was great. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Suzette. And
Hey, Janice, it's Gigi. I had a question about the hip flexor. When you get pain when you're doing these exercises on the hip flexor muscles right in the front.
That would have to be, Gigi, I would have to, let me go to gallery. Where is the pain, and I'd have to know where is the pain?
Yeah, like right in here.
When
we were doing, I think this one, the roll, getting in the roll like a ball position.
Okay, Yes, so that means you're really, really tight in your hip flexors. So I probably wouldn't have you do that particular exercise.
Okay.
I'd probably instead say, Gigi, stay away from that. And then do the lowering of the leg and feeling the back of the hip. Did you feel a stretch there when you lowered that leg down?
Yeah, I like that one a lot. That felt
Yeah.
good.
That's the one I would say you should do at this moment. You're just too tight in your hips. And that when you come up, they just grab like,
That's what they felt like.
They
It was
just,
just,
yeah. So we don't want to encourage that whatsoever.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else have a question or a comment? Yes.
I was just saying to Mum, I feel taller. Just
Me
from
too.
stretching.
Yeah, because we stretched your spine out, right? And we stretched your spine out by using, I always think of the transverse as it's like a tube of toothpaste that, kids are always using the toothpaste and they're just sometimes my husband putting it, squeezing that, it's all dented. And then you come to the bottom of that tube of toothpaste and you squeeze and all of those dents come out. And so literally that's what we just did. We squeezed and we stretched. All those dents came out of your spine. And that's people actually will get taller. They will measure sometimes up to an inch taller because they've been like this. Gravity's pulling us down and everything's all mucked up because we sit at a desk and we do this kind of thing or we bend over or all this. And so using that transversus, you pull in, it spreads the spine out with the multifidi. You learn all this in ridermanship. I teach in ridermanship a little anatomy and kinesiology for like dummies like me, just a little bit so you can understand why you need to open your hip, why you need to stretch your hip, why you need to find that rack muscle at the back of your hip, why you need to use your transversus, why you need to establish a seat before you can even influence a horse. So many of us ride horses and we have no idea what we're doing. And our body's like speaking tons to the horse. And the horse is like, ha, 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 because we're not in control of these parts. And we're tightening things and we're letting go of things. And we don't even know it. It's like, it's not that we're trying to be bad. It's just that we don't know I always say where to hold on and where to let go, right? So this teaches you all of that. Did anybody
Yes, we did that with the horse too. He went from being 17.1 to 17.2 when we trained him up.
Awesome.
He
Yeah.
actually got bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. Your posture changes. That's why I started with this idea that the horse posture changes and we're all excited about that. But we never really get excited about changing our posture, right? We just want to ride. And to learn how to change our posture so we have a seat, it's kind of like, it's some work. It's not just, you can't just imagine it. You actually have to train the muscles and train the muscles until such time as you now can control your body on the horse. I mean, I'm even learning that more and more every day, how much my upper body, I watch my trainer ride and it's like, well, how do you do that? And they go, oh, his arms aren't moving at all. They're there, they're solid. And then it's not being stiff, it's being solid, supple, but solid, right? Stable. And I always think this, people think, oh, I can ride a horse. I've got a body, I can ride a horse. I'm like, oh, okay. But could you do ballet? Just because you have a body, could you do ballet? No one would ever think about that. No one would ever think, oh, I'm going to go dance ballet. I've got a body, I could. And it's like, but yet everybody, we have this body and we think we can go ride these horses without any training. And I did the same thing. And to me, it boggles my mind because it's like, no, you have to train your body. You have to have a seat. And then once you have a seat, you can influence the horse. If you don't have a seat, you can't really truly influence the horse because there's too many moving parts. So I hope you felt a little bit of something. Anybody else have a comment or? Okay, so yes. Don,
I just really enjoyed that. Not being a rider, but being a fan of yours from afar and hearing great things about you in the Romanas Pilates community. A lot of that makes sense to me, you know. I love that you did that little analogy with the horse and the back, because that helps anyone. Like,
Yes.
learn that the more the stomach comes in, the more the spine's supported. So that was a great little visual. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And did somebody else have a question? I saw it. Yes, you might have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Are you able? Okay. My question was regarding the exercise when we were alternating legs up. And you said if your neck hurts, put your head down. Mm-hmm. Is that because I'm using my neck muscles rather than my appropriate muscles? What's happening?
Yes, you're not strong enough. Okay, so when I brought her up like that, it's kind of like if you have a training level horse and somebody comes up and jacks the neck up so that they have a high, that I want them in a Grand Prix frame, and they drop their back. So what happens is you're trying to come up, but your back's dropping. So your back is probably, I would say, your back isn't round and supple enough to carry that head carriage up there, just like a horse. So that is another indicator that your spine's probably not as supple as it needs to be, and your abdominals are not as strong because then you have to use your neck. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Is there a way that I can work on that?
Everything we did tonight. And through my, I have my DVDs, I have my Ridermanship course. By the way, for attending tonight, you will be receiving a coupon code to save $300 on my course. My course is not it's not inexpensive. My course is in this for a reason. Because it's hardcore training. It's real training for the body. It's not an exercise class, right? As I said, I was a dancer. I was super fit, and I couldn't ride a horse. So that's why I created this ridermanship course. And when you break down the payments into months, it's actually not that expensive because you would go and take a clinic, you know, or you take your riding lessons. This is a way to work on you. So you will get a code for $300 off my course. There's going to be my Ridermanship Rookie, which is 3 audio lessons that you put me in your ear and you ride with me. And I talk to you about exploring your body and then how to stabilize and how to go into the trot and things like that. It's 3 audio courses. A few of you will be receiving that as a free gift. I don't know how my people figure it out, but they'll figure it out and you'll be getting that in the mail. And I hope you get a little bit excited about possibly doing something for yourself. We spend money for bridles and saddles and saddle pads and chiropractors for the horses and massages for the horses and lessons and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da for the horse. And then you go, but I can't ride. And it's like, oh, yeah, because nobody ever really taught you how to ride, how to use your body. And as I said earlier, it didn't make any sense to me when somebody said, use your leg or use your seat. It's like, well, a dancer, we can do a lot of things with our legs and seats. We can do a lot of, and so how? So I'm trying to give people the how, because I think every horse, every rider should go to second level within 5 years. Every horse, every rider, second level, 5 years. Not 20, not 3 horses later, no. It's like every horse, and you can't get to second level unless you train your body. Because to get to second level and to get to collection is all about how you ride your horse. And biomechanically, your horse is going to stay sounder if you can get them to into at least a second level collection, because then biomechanically they're going to be working better and they're going to be staying sound longer. But the only way you can do that is if you know how to collect in your body to help them collect in their body. If you're up there like a sack of potatoes, kind of just going along, and you know, they can't do their job. So, I hope you will. Are there any other questions? I hope you will be excited about maybe taking some of these exercises home, maybe seeking out a Pilates teacher in your area. And maybe just start by listening to my podcasts. They're on my website. I've got 2 seasons worth, and you just, I just help start you to feel your body when you're on the horse. So that's one of my things. I'm just so passionate about helping people, actually more passionate about helping horses. Yes, Gingy.
Yeah, I had a question. Could you talk a little bit about what the ridermanship course is? Is it Zoom exercise classes like this? Is it riding your horse? Is it?
It's study. It's home study. You will, there's 5 modules. In the modules, you're going to learn some, you're going to self-examine yourself, your posture. You're going to start learning how to change your posture because you understand your iliopsoas is too tight and your transversus is too uneducated. Your hips are uneducated. We start to help you find all those things. We give you exercises to do. Every module has exercises that you have to learn, but there's also the lectures that has the science behind the exercises. Why are we doing this? Is we're doing this for our seat or for hip mobility. And then by module 3, we put it on the horse. And there's audio explorations, kind of like my podcast, where you go out there and you practice, but it's mostly self-study. However, every 2 weeks we meet on Zoom, and this February launch, you will be doing, we will be doing in our Zoom classes, we will be covering the exercises. So it won't be like an exercise class, but we'll cover the exercises. But the exercises are built into the modules, and I go through them with a rider so that you have a demonstrator. It's just kind of exactly what we did here. And I talk about the exercises. So everything's based on, the exercises are like, everything is educational so that when you get to the exercises, you know what you're after, right? It's not blindly doing exercises to get fit. I mean, to me, you can go to the gym and do that, but that's not going to change. We want to change your posture. We want to change your biomechanics. And then we get you on the horse and talk about how to follow the horse's movement, how to start to influence the horse. And, but it's most largely for self-motivated people. It's self-study.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's 6 months of self-study, right? I used to be a university professor, so I kind of created basically like a university course in how to ride a horse, right? In ridermanship. And so it's step by step. So you really learn. Again, it's like these are the things that we're a lot of people assume you know how to use your leg and assume you know how to use your core and assume and assume and assume. And I go back down and deconstruct everything so that then we put it all together. You go, oh yeah, my hip's tight here. Or, oh yeah, I didn't notice, but I'm falling on my crotch when I ride and I'm not on the back edge of my seat bone, and all these things that help you be aware. And then you take it out and you start to play with it on your horse. And the most success stories I've had, which is about everybody who's taken the course, somebody's been in back pain for 20 years and they got out of back pain. I had a osteopath who had left hip pain all of her life, and through this course she got out of hip pain. She's an osteopath. I mean, it was so awesome. She was just like blown away. So a lot of people are getting out of pain, and a lot of people are riding their horses better. And so I've just been so humbled and awed that an online course that you can access 24/7. You do it whenever you want. Can be so powerful. And it was my goal. You know, I go out and teach clinics and they look great. And then I come back and the next, 6 months and they're back to the way they were. So I want to empower people to figure it out so they can help themselves, so they don't need me all the time. Right? That's what I want to do, instead of like, sometimes you have trainers that you ride fantastic with when they're there and they leave and you're going, what do we do? Because they haven't really told you how to do it. So I'm trying to tell you how to do it so that you can replicate it on your own. Yes, do you always need an instructor? Absolutely. But really and truly, this is something that you take on as something to empower yourself, that you can replicate over and over. Okay, any other questions? I'm going to thank Jessin for being a fabulous model. I haven't seen her yet this year, and so it's only been 2 weeks, but anyway, she's looking great. And thank you. And for all of you for coming, and because it shows that there's some interest in possibly, I always say, what's the definition of insanity? Right?
Doing the same thing over and over again.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So it says something that you're here, that you want a different result, that there's something you're looking for. And I tell you, learning about a seat, and then you start influencing your horse because you're getting so much clearer in your aid. So encourage you to get that email, sign up for the course, or go to my podcast. I have newsletters with educational tips. Do something. Take one of these exercises and do it every day, and you'll see a change in your body. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janice.